Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. I hope everyone is good. Okay, so this is another video where we are actually going to cover something which is very important for every competitive examination. Even if you're the one who's preparing for UPSC, kind of examinations, even if you're the one who's preparing for state PCS also, even, if specifically you are the one who's preparing for regulatory examination as well. So this particular news is actually very important from the examination perspective here, because this is one report which has been released by NITI Aayog. First of all, remember this, okay? And this report clearly talks about Export Preparedness Index 2024, which has been recently released, like few days before only. This index particularly has been released, which tries to examine the structure, which tries to examine the position of export in each and every state. It clearly tells us that since export market, since we are living in the time period of globalization, right, export actually plays a huge important role here. I need to check that which state is actually contributing here. Now, when I talk about the contribution, that has been specifically taken into like that has been specifically monitored, taking into consideration states only. States are actually further divided, right, into lower position as well as higher position. Also, these are the two categories in which they are divided here, and we'll be trying to examine that which state exactly is giving us best of the performance and which states are the one which are lagging as well, right? Along with that, we'll see what is the position of trade in general also, right? What is the position of India? And along with that, we'll be talking about rest of the important aspects as well. Okay, so if you're the one who's preparing for regulatory kind of examination, direct question can be asked in the paper. But if you're the one who's preparing for UPSC, papers here, then of course, its history also becomes very important. When I say history, it means static portion associated with it. Maybe when last index was released, who is the one who releases it? So these are the things which are actually very important, and of course we'll be covering each and everything here. Alright, so every new joinee here, this is the link of my Telegram channel, which is Economy with Payal. If you want, you can join it. I keep on sharing editorials here. I keep on sharing timings of my lectures as well. Okay. Alright, so first of all, just remember this particular index, which is Export Preparedness Index. But remember the year. Export Preparedness Index of 2024 has been released few days before only. And if they ask you that who's the one who releases it, remember NITI Aayog is the one. Now, what I told you, since we are talking about Export Preparedness Index, this is one index which talks about export performance of India, which talks about which state is the one which is contributing high in exports, which is actually contributing a lot in trade as well. It's a kind of composite index only that evaluates the performance of various of the states and tries to check that which state is actually performing better and which not, which ensures the export readiness, competitiveness, and institutional capacity of India's states, union territories at a sub-national level also, right? Remember this. And that is the reason Export Preparedness Index is actually very important from the examination perspective. Now, let's recognize the status here as well. Now, when I talk about the export here, like, what do you think? What is the significance of export? Because this is the one, right, which tells me about my exact status of manufacturing, right, which tells me the exact status of how my various of the sectors are actually performing, be it manufacturing, right, be it maybe like goods and services. It tells me the status about the services as well. And if I talk about the manufacturing, if I specifically talk about the industries also, even if I talk about the merchandise trade as well, right, I'll get to know how my policies or how like the schemes that I've taken into consideration that is specifically to boost export, how they are performing. It puts a question, and it specifically talks about the performance, evaluating the performance of various of the schemes here. For example, we are having PLI initiative. For example, we are having Make in India initiative, right? Make in India initiative also. Like, we are having many of them, right? We are having number of schemes associated with it. We are having foreign trade policy as well, right? So, like, when I talk about these many aspects here, it clearly tells me if the performance is good, right, it means these many schemes are performing good. If the performing is low, it puts a question on the manufacturing sector, it puts a question on the services sector, and further it puts a question on various of the plans that has been made by the government of India as well. So this is very important. This is specifically here to evaluate the performance, right? Remember, to evaluate the performance, this is specifically associated with it. Okay, remember that. Always remember, it's a kind of composite index only that evaluates the performance. If I am actually export readiness, like if export readiness is there or not, right? Competitiveness, institutional capacity of various of the Indian states, union territories at the sub-national level is also part of it. So India's export is actually defined by the diverse economic strengths as well as trade potentials also, right? It clearly tells, because when I talk about the trade here, do you really think, although export is something which is, which we see from the like nation's perspective only, nation का export क्या हो रहा है ना, बड़े level पे हम trade कैसे कर रहे हैं, do we have deficit, do we have surplus, but there are various of the states who are contributing there. If we are getting one material, for example, if we do good in textiles for say, right, so textiles would be coming from a lot of many states here, na, है ना, so a lot many states are part of it, a lot many union territories are actually part of it, and this tells us about their contribution, how they're contributing, right? What is the performance, which state is actually performing good in which sector also. So it's a kind of diversity, or it's a kind of diverse strengths only, economic strengths only, and trade potential also of its states as well as union territories as well. Recognizing this diversity, the Export Preparedness Index actually focuses on comprehensive assessment of export ecosystems just to identify key challenges, growth levers as well as opportunities at the state level also. Now the report clearly says if you want to become Viksit Bharat by 2047, you need to evaluate its performance, because everything should be settled, right? I need to do better in trade. I need to like make my export market better. I need to ensure informal and formal sectors are also working in a very parallel way, in a very balanced mode, right? I need to touch every sector if I want to make my economy developed. I need to strengthen that system, right? For example, when I talk about make in India, make in China products, made in China products, they are all world famous, right? For example, if I talk about rare earth availability or dependency, do we have any one country where there is a lot of, dependency on like rare earth, minerals, for the availability of rare earth minerals? Yes, China is the one which is, which is holding that, which has just made that grip very tight. China is the one which is not losing its position in the supply of that. So it means it has hold its position there, right? Similar is the thing that we need to bring, similar is the thing that we need to practice here as well with India. We need to decrease deficit, because deficit means what? If I say we are having deficit here, it means I'm importing more than what I'm exporting. That is not a good part for any of the economy. It means you're losing your wealth, right? What should be the case? Should be the case of surplus only, right? Exports should be more than imports here, right? Again telling you there is a concept of balanced also, but that is actually very hypothetical to to actually assume. This never happens. If your import is actually of 100 rupees, then your export is also of 100 rupees only, right? Very hypothetical situation. But if you're exporting more than what you're importing is actually good for any of the economy, this tells us that that economy's sector is actually strengthened. States are also contributing here. Now remember one initiative, one district, one product, right? One district, one product. What do you think why it was started? Just to promote, or just to like, for the inclusiveness here, right? I wanted to increase manufacturing part here, right? If every district will be having one special product for say, manufacturing will be increased, right? Demand of that particular product will be increased, and accordingly, I'll get benefit in trade as well. That was the clear benefit of one district, one product, which of course gets GI tag products also, and of course in manufacturing and demand and trade also, it is actually going to help me. So this clearly says if you want to achieve the market, that is the India's ambition of achieving $1 trillion of market in merchandise export, and that too by 2030. And if you want to achieve broader objective also, that is Viksit Bharat by 2047, you need to work somewhere. Okay. So these are the goals that you people need to remember. $1 trillion dollar economy in merchandise exports, and that too by the time period of 2030. And if you want to become Viksit Bharat by 2047 as well, you need to achieve it. And this Export Preparedness Index 2024 actually evaluates the performance. Although we have set the performance here, right? We have set the target. For example, you say I want to crack RBI Grade B 2026 for say, right? Although you have said that, but are you ready for that or not? How you will be able to check that? After evaluating your performance only, right? After, giving multiple tests, you will be able to evaluate that. So accordingly, we are actually evaluating the performance of various of the states. Are they ready for that or not? Or various of the states, or various of the UTs as well. We are just checking Are they ready for it, or not? Are they ready? Are they working to achieve the broader objective or not? The index actually underscores the importance of policy coherence, collaboration between center and the state government, along with that, in building a competitive, resilient, inclusive trade environment as well. Now, this is about the evaluation performance here. It has been structured with 4 pillars. Remember, it is all ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ 4 पिलर्स ओनली. जैसे हम घर की नींव की बात करते हैं ना, और इसकी नींव क्या है, ये 4 पिलर्स है. इट इज ऑल डिपेंडेंट ऑन 4 पिलर्स ओनली, विच टॉक्स अबाउट एक्सपोर्ट इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर, बिजनेस इकोसिस्टम, policy and governance, and export performance as well. Now, when I talk about these 4 core pillars here, right, remember these are the 4 core pillars here, which are further divided into 13 sub-pillars and 70 parameters also. Now, out of these 70 parameters, 50 are actually very vital in nature and 20 are desirable in nature, right? So, we will be, decoding it, further in the coming slides only, but for now, just get an idea about it. That when I talk about the dependency of this export preparedness index, it is highly dependent on 4 pillars here. That is infrastructure, that is business ecosystem, policy and governance, and export performance also, right? I need to check everything. If my infrastructure is all good or not, if government is supporting me or not, if government is facilitating ease of doing business or not, if the policy governance is all okay, no corruption, no red tapeism, if I am able to like move with the flow only, and accordingly I need to check performance as well, right? Along with that, this clearly see the significant enhancements have been made on Export Preparedness Index 2024 framework vis-a-vis earlier framework with the inclusion of new dimensions also, right? As in the previous, previously also in the previous years, this particular index has been released, but now this time in 2024, like I'm specifically talking about this time 2026, but the report that has been released specifies the performance of 2024. So this time a lot of new aspects have been added here, so we'll be talking about that. Now, what I told you, broadly we are categorizing and we are evaluating the performance of states. So we are dividing it into two. Performance of states are divided into two. We are having large states, and we are having small states as well, right? We are evaluating the performance on the basis of two only, where the states are actually classified into leaders, challengers, as well as aspirers also within their categories. That is all on the basis of evaluation on the framework itself, which is offering insights into comparative performance, and areas which is requiring policy attention also. So remember, when we will discuss the chart in the coming slides, it will be divided into large and small, and these two, states will be further divided into leaders, challengers, as well as aspirers also. Remember that. Now, this is just the crux of whatever we have done till now. It is published by NITI Aayog. Its first edition was actually released in 2020. Second edition, we have seen, the fourth edition in 2000, EPI. When I talk about the EPI 2024 here, it is actually the fourth edition of the index here. It was once released in 2022 as well. The aim is very crystal clear in nature. What do I need to check? That is export performance only, right? And accordingly, I'll be taking further steps also. जैसे अब मैं एक बहुत ज़्यादा सिंपल एग्जाम्पल लूंगी आप सबके लिए. आपको क्या करना है, आपको आरबीआई क्रैक करना है. 2026 का जो है आप टारगेट कर रहे हो, और आपने क्या करा, आपने अपनी प्रॉपर स्ट्रैटेजी बना ली. अब आपको अपना परफॉर्मेंस चेक करने के लिए आप टेस्ट देंगे, है ना? बट जब आप टेस्ट देंगे तो आप परफॉर्मेंस को इवैल्यूएट कर रहे हैं. जब आपने टेस्ट दे के परफॉर्मेंस को इवैल्यूएट करा, विल यू बी सिटिंग आइडल और टेकिंग नेक्स्ट स्टेप्स? ऑफ कोर्स द लेटर वन इज द करेक्ट वन, राइट? Like the second one is exactly the correct one here. So, you people will be checking here, okay, where I'm lacking, and in whatever area you would be lacking, you will be taking corrective decisions for that. You would be knowing about it, that yes, I need to work on that particular part, and accordingly you will be working as well, right? So similar cases here also. If I see that somewhere or another I'm lacking, so I'll be working on that. Okay, the state is not performing good. Why it is not performing good? Is it lacking in infrastructure? Is it lacking in policy and governance? If it is lacking here, you further try to dig it, right? You'll further see where exactly it is lacking. What is the problem here? What is the root cause of the problem as well? And you will be trying to pluck that particular weed out of it, and you will be trying to solve that problem as well. So accordingly, decision making will be done, right? Why this evaluation is important? ताकि हम आने वाले टाइम पे जो है corrective measures ले सके, हम corrective steps ले सके. Okay, that is what is the corrective step that has been included here. Okay, so what I told you, it is all on the basis of 4 pillars only. When I talk about the sub pillars here, 13 are the one and 17 are the indicators here, which are subdivided into 50 plus 20 also, right? Now, this is what are the pillars here. Export infrastructure, 20% coverage, which includes utilities, logistics, connectivity, industrial infrastructure. Business ecosystem is also part of it, which includes 40% of coverage here. Macroeconomy, cost competitiveness, human capital, finance, MSMEs, innovation is also part of it. Policy and governance, 20% coverage. It includes state export policies, institutions, regulatory environments, and export performance is also part of it, where the coverage is to 20% itself. This includes export outcomes, diversification, market access, as well as facilitation also. So this is what is the broader coverage here. Now further decoding it. What I told you, it's a kind of framework which has been chosen for evaluating the performance of states. Remember it very clearly. What I told you, the first one is infrastructure only, right? You will be checking, do you have that infrastructure जहाँ पे आप properly बैठ के काम कर सके, जहाँ पे आप properly बैठ के test दे सको, जहाँ पे आप properly बैठ के हर एक चीज जो है अपनी evaluate कर सको. Do you have that infrastructure? If you want to take classes, do you have that online system with you? So you will be taking care of that infrastructure first. If I want to do better in exports, I'll be checking here if I have that robust infrastructure or not. So this clearly says it includes ports, क्योंकि जो trade है वो तो facilitate होगा ना, वो तो sea route से भी pass होगा, है ना? तो ट्रांसपोर्टेशन हो गया, पोर्ट्स हो गए, वेयर हाउसिंग फैसिलिटीज हो गई, अवेलेबिलिटी ऑफ यूटिलिटीज जैसे पावर हो गया, वाटर हो गया, कम्युनिकेशन हो गया, राइट? दीज आर द थिंग्स व्हिच आर एक्चुअली वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. अलॉन्ग विद दैट आई नीड टू चेक इफ दिस इज कॉस्ट एफिशिएंट और नॉट, राइट? इफ दिस इज cost efficient or not, I need to check that very correctly. Business ecosystem, I need to check what is the ecosystem there. Are we getting support in business or not? Like, although the government can clearly say the broader objectives can clearly say कि हमें जो है एक्सपोर्ट में बेटर करना है, बट ये भी तो चेक करना पड़ेगा, आर यू सपोर्टिंग बिजनेसेस और नॉट. Now, supporting businesses doesn't mean that you're standing very far behind, you're just clapping and just watching their performance there. No, it doesn't mean that. It clearly means standing on the ground, considering their problems and coming up with the corrective measures also, which is clearly responsibility of the policymakers itself. So this clearly says a thriving business ecosystem forms the foundation of export success also, which offers necessary support for the businesses to grow and to compete internationally as well. And this pillar assesses the availability of skilled labor, access to capital, and overall ease of doing business as well. Policy and governance is also part of it. I just want to see how much of support I'm actually getting, right? Which actually further helps me out in trade facilitation, in a collaboration, in, like, for example, if we're having any scheme for say, right? तो हम स्कीम्स में फिर हम कई बार ऐसी स्कीम्स भी करते हैं जो कि हमारे एमएसएमई सेक्टर के लिए बहुत ज़्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट है. तो क्या होता है, हम यही चीज़ को डिस्कस करते हैं ना कि गवर्नमेंट ने क्या करा, करेक्टिव मेजर्स लिए, जिसमें उन्होंने बोला कि आपको इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर की टेंशन लेने की जरूरत नहीं है, आपको फाइनेंस की टेंशन लेने की जरूरत नहीं है, हम आपको हर एक जो है वो रिम्बर्समेंट भी कर देंगे, क्योंकि आपको ट्रेड फैसिलिटेशन के ऊपर फोकस करना है. क्योंकि जब हम ट्रेड करते हैं तो आपको रिलेशंस भी बेहतर करने होंगे, उसके लिए यू हैव टू टेक देयर विल बी लॉट ऑफ कॉस्ट इंक्लूडेड, एयर फेयर्स हो गया, then of course you have to do campaigns, like you have to do multiple things, you have to conduct multiple meetings also, you have to travel a lot if you want to settle down there, right? So this is what has been part of it. This clearly says conducting policy environment and delivery mechanism at a state level drives exports by enabling trade facilitation, collaboration, and market access as well. Proactive governance actually reduces barriers, fosters innovation, and align with the India's export priorities also. At last, we need to check export performance. I need to check which state is performing better. If one state is performing better, it means these 4 pillars are good, are performing good there. If there's one state not at all performing better, it means there is somewhere or another a lot of gadwad going on in that particular state, right? Okay, now this is all on the basis of those 70 parameters here. What I told you, it is further broken into 13 pillars here. And of course, there is a comprehensive list of 70 parameters as well. Now, these 70 parameters are further divided into 20 and 50. These 50 are vital parameters. These 50 are vital parameters here. Okay. These are the foundational metrics which carries weightage in the state's final score and essential for evaluating the core performance and operational effectiveness of the state as well, right? Along with that, if I talk about the 21 here, these are the desirable one. It means it represents the value added metrics only that showcases the success stories, aspirational achievements by any of the states. So remember, these are the two here. One we are having is vital parameter, another we are having is desirable. Okay, just remember that, desirable parameters. This is what is part of it. Okay, all right, now we'll be going through these pillars one by one. The first pillar is all on the basis of what? Infrastructure, right? So we'll be watching what is the kind of infrastructure there. We'll be checking ports, we'll be checking proper coverage of power, also supply of power and water, ports, logistic network, last mile connectivity that ensures timely delivery and cost efficiency as well. And this is what is part of it. It is divided into utilities. Sub-pillar weightage includes vital and desirable, and this is further divided. Now, there is no need of going through this everything here, क्योंकि इतना इन डेप्थ में क्वेश्चन नहीं पूछा जाएगा. हाँ जी, एक ब्रॉडर स्तर पे जो क्वेश्चन है वो पूछे जाएंगे. ओके, ऑलराइट. नेक्स्ट टॉक अबाउट बिजनेस इकोसिस्टम. Basically, I want to see what kind of support I'm actually getting here. So it assesses the availability of skilled labor, access to capital, overall ease of doing business. It evaluates the presence of industrial clusters, special economic zones and innovation hubs that actually enable that is businesses to scale efficiency also. Now, just to foster entrepreneurship, multiple decision makings are taken. We need to check market linkage, connectivity, infrastructure in a very proper way. Policy and governance, which ensures rules and regulations which are coming up by the government here, by the policy makers there. क्योंकि जैसे ही डिसीजन मेकिंग होंगे उसी तरीके से जो बेहतर है हमारे क्या होंगे, जो हमारी प्रोडक्शन है, जो हमारा एक्सपोर्ट है, जो हमारी परफॉर्मेंस है, मॉनिटरिंग है, मैनेजमेंट है, प्रॉपरली होगी जैसे ही हमारे डिसीजंस होंगे. ठीक है, alright. So transparent regulatory practices, ease of doing business, trade facilitation measures, availability of financial incentives, they are the one which evaluate under the domain, under this particular domain there, right? This is something which you people need to remember, and accordingly it is subdivided. We are having sub pillars, weightage also. Clearly you can go through it. Export performance, we check here what is the performance of various of the states. Are they export ready or not, right? We check volume also. We check diversification of exports as well. Are they dependent on one type of production only, or there is a diversification as well? Additionally, when I talk about this particular pillar, it examines the consistency of export growth and states' resilience to external shocks also. So these are the four pillars which you need to understand and which you need to remember also. Now, next thing, what I told you, as compared to the previous edition, this time there is an enhancement in the Export Preparedness Index. Enhancement clearly means there is some value addition added here. So just try to read it very correctly. It clearly says that, of course, we've seen Export Preparedness Index in 2022 as well, where there were a lot of changes there. But now, considering inputs from NITI Aayog and the states also, additional things have been done. Basically, हमने कुछ cancel भी करा है, हमने कुछ add भी करा है, मतलब plus minus दोनों हुआ है. Specifically, 19 parameters from the previous edition have been either removed or they've been merged to streamline this analysis and just to eliminate the redundancy. While what has been added here, that is 8 pillars, have been enhanced to improve their relevance and overall impact in the index as well. Okay, this is something which you people need to remember here. Accordingly, these are the new dimensions. This talks about macroeconomy, performance, cost competitiveness, human capital, financial access and credit, and MSME ecosystem is also part of it. There is an introduction of desirable parameters also. Along with that, streamlining of parameters have been also done, just to consolidate that very correctly. And the main focus is specifically on the export infrastructure. क्योंकि देखो, अगर export infrastructure बेहतर होगा ना, अगर infrastructure बेहतर होगा, तो connectivity खुद जो है वो improve हो जाएगी. ठीक है, जो कनेक्टिविटी है वो खुद ही इंप्रूव हो जाएगी. जो हमारे बाकी पैरामीटर्स है वो खुद ना खुद कहीं ना कहीं अलाइन होना शुरू हो जाएंगे, क्योंकि इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर है, बेसिक फैसिलिटी है, एंड रेस्ट ऑफ द थिंग्स विल ऑलरेडी विल ऑलवेज बी will automatically be aligned there. Now this is all the performance of India's export trends. You can clearly see the chart. If you do not want to go through the text here, you can see the chart also, right? Now you can clearly see that export trend exhibited mixed dynamics, with total exports reaching a record of 65 lakh crore, and India's share in the global trade increased to 1.8%, right, from 1.7% in the previous year here, right? And along with that, you can clearly see when I talk about the services here, it has been grew to what, that is 4.9%. This is important to remember. Along with that, the focus on trade, right? You can clearly see Viksit Bharat vision for India's export for, global exports here. Now, you can clearly see it is all about achieving the broader objective. जैसे हमें विकसित भारत 2047 अचीव करना है ना, तो ये क्या बोलता है कि जो मेरा core target है ना under this vision is to just ensure that India's manufacturing sector contribute 10% to the global manufacturing, like to the global manufacturing GDP, and that too by 2047. In addition of that, the vision envisages India to account for 10% of share of the global merchandise exports by 2047. This is also something very important. If I'll be able to achieve it, accordingly, broader objectives will also be achieved. Let me just highlight it so that I can better tell you. Okay, this number is important. The core target of this vision is to just position India's manufacturing sector to contribute 10% of the global manufacturing vision, and that too by 2047. And that is what this is talking about, 10% of share of the global merchandise export by 2047 as well. This is something which you people need to remember, and accordingly you can go through this particular diagram as well. Merchandise exports, you can clearly see that exports has rose from 35.3 lakh crore in 2022 to a record of 37.7 lakh crore in 2023, which is reflecting 6.9% of year-on-year growth, which is fueled by strong performance in various of the sectors such as engineering goods हो गया, electronics हो गया, pharmaceuticals हो गया. Just because of these many sectors, of course, there is an improvement in the exports as well, right? Now, this is the performance of the engineering goods. See, which country is performing all better? So, this is as per this 2024 here. You can clearly see that US is contributing 16%, and UAE 6%, Saudi Arabia 5%, Germany 4%, Italy 4%, UK 3, Singapore 3, Mexico 3, Turkey 3%, Korea, is also 2%. So this is something which is very important. Accordingly, electronics good, right? So you can clearly see 35% is specifically like China. US is the one which is holding this position. Followed by what? That is, UAE 11%, Netherlands, UK, Italy, Czech Republic, and Germany, China, Hong Kong, as well as Austria also. They are performing good in the export, electronics goods here. Then we are having chemicals and lead products here. You can clearly see again USA is holding the market 16%. That is followed by China, UAE, Saudi Arabia, Brazil, Malaysia, UK, Netherlands, Germany, as well as Korea as well, right? And now this is all about the agriculture good exports here. So USA again doing better 10%, followed by China, UAE, Bangladesh, Vietnam, Saudi Arabia, Iraq, Malaysia, Indonesia, as well as Iran also, right? This is something which you people need to remember here. Along with that, you can see the total, performance of it as well. You can clearly see this is of 2024. That is in light green color here, but dark green color shows 2019 Jan se leke June tak. This is the total merchandise one, which is like 27% here, followed by agriculture products, of which food, which includes fuel and mining, products here. Fuels की अगर मैं बात करूँ, manufacturers है, iron and steel है, chemicals है, office telecom equipment है, electronic component है, automotive products है, other machinery है, textile है, clothing है, they are actually part of it. Now, when I talk about the data here, right, of course, the data that we have seen is actually all good, right? But what is the one which is facilitating this data? Or what is the one which is facilitating trade in general also? Remember, we are having various of the agreement signed. अगर आपको याद होगा, आरबीआई में आपको एक क्वेश्चन भी पूछा गया था, एफ्टा के ऊपर, एफ्टा टेपा के ऊपर क्वेश्चन पूछा गया था. तो ये जितने भी हमारे सारे अग्रीमेंट्स है ना, बहुत ज़्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट है. इवन इफ दैट इज इंडिया ऑस्ट्रेलिया ACTA, इंडिया UAE सेपा हो गया, इंडिया UK फ्री ट्रेड एसोसिएशन हो गया. अभी रिसेंटली इंडिया एंड ओमान हैज साइंड वन अग्रीमेंट विद ईच अदर, राइट? इंडिया ओमान सेपा, ये भी इंपॉर्टेंट है. तो जो हमारे सेपा या फिर जो हमारे अग्रीमेंट्स होते हैं, दे आर सुपर डुपर इंपॉर्टेंट. क्वेश्चन रिलेटेड इट कैन बी आस्क्ड इन द पेपर आल्सो, राइट? So that is what has been done here, and you can just go through like various of the like trade facilitation, the FTAs which have been signed here, the promises that we have made with each other. Okay, now what I told you, जब हम states की बात करते हैं ना, अगर आपको याद होगा स्टूडेंट्स, तो जब हमने स्टेट्स की बात करी थी, मैंने आपको बताया था कि जो states है they are divided into higher and lower one, right? They are divided into higher and lower one also, right? So right, so specifically अगर मैं large या फिर small बोलूँ, higher lower बोल लीजिए, large या फिर small बोल लीजिए, right? So this is also part of it. So states are actually divided there. Now what comes first in the large country overall rank, that Maharashtra is the one which is the first ranker. Okay, Maharashtra is the one which is the first ranker here. You can accordingly see, followed by Tamil Nadu, Gujarat, Uttar Pradesh, but you can clearly see these scores as well. It has been ranked as 48.01, right, among large states. 64.41 has been ranked by Tamil Nadu here. 64.02 Gujarat, 62.09 Uttar Pradesh. So it is getting followed in another way as well, right? You can accordingly see it in a very, very full-fledged manner. Now, further dividing it. What I told you, that when I talk about states here, right, they are divided into large and small, right? Now, these are further divided into leader. Of course, we are having challenger, aspirer also, right? And accordingly, this is also divided among, like, we are having leader, challenger and aspirer as well. Okay, all right. So you can clearly see Maharashtra has been ranked one, which is leader here, right? And if you see here, top 8 rankers are just leaders only, followed by Tamil Nadu, Gujarat, Maharashtra, Uttar Pradesh here. Andhra Pradesh is part of it. Karnataka, Punjab is also part of it, which is the leader here. Telangana is also part of it. So these are the many states which are the top rankers here. Then come on to the state or small, states here. You can clearly see that, among the small states, Uttarakhand is the one which is lead the position. So badi states mein, matlab large states mein, wait. Always remember large state. Okay, I'll write it here only. Large states mein, Maharashtra is the one. Small states mein, Uttarakhand is the one, right? Again, accordingly, scores are also important. So these slides are the one which are actually very, very important here. Followed by Jammu and Kashmir, Nagaland, Dadra and Nagar Haveli and Daman and Diu, Goa, Tripura, Assam, Puducherry, Chandigarh is also the one, right, which is a leader here. So, again, we are having Meghalaya, Ladakh, Delhi, which are the challengers here. So this is what is actually part of it, and this is the entire index here. Again, telling you each and everything that we have done here is super important. Question, even if that is associated with any state PCs examination, any UPSC kind of examination, even if that is associated with regulatory examinations also, question related to it can be asked in the paper, right? Because this is something which tries to give the performance of various states. So just try to think it from the perspective of phase 1 for sure. And phase 2 में हो सकता है objective type question जो है वो पूछ लिया जाए. So just try to prepare it, right? Along with that, नीति आयोग जैसे जो reports है वो बहुत ज़्यादा important हो जाते हैं for an economy in general as well. So thank you so much for joining the session. I hope the index is crystal clear to all of you. Having any doubt, you can mention that in the comment section, and of course I'll be addressing it out. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye bye. Thank you.